in minor degree in education, and you know, it does help. Don't get me wrong, education does help, right? But you have to get your hands dirty as well to make it something.
Where
So-
are rights coming from?
They are coming from the set of people that are in charge, the
Okay.
government. And to your point, that's the patriarchy.
There
However,
you go. End of the argument. That's it.
I agree. So I concede to that point. However, I'm saying that that does not mean that men, since they create the ability to give people like rights and take it away, that doesn't mean that men it should be that way. It shouldn't. I don't know if that makes
So
sense.
men have been guaranteeing your rights the entire time you've been alive.
No, that's definitely not true.
Well, I don't understand. I thought that you just
But
said
also,
rights come from the government.
but
The
also,
government is the patriarchy. The
but-
patriarchy then is giving you rights, right?
Right, but the government isn't
Correct.
inherently the government is influenced by
Heartbender, you're right. You can get muscles and not know how to use them. Yeah, you can be a huge bodybuilder, guys. But then when it's time to use those muscles, you don't know how to use them. If you're not doing boxing, martial art, karate, taekwondo, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, those muscles are nothing.
patriarchy, but it's not like all men making decisions like in the past it was.
Would you say it's mostly in charge by men?
Yeah, but again, I think that your points that you're making are very misogynistic. I think the point of what you're saying
Listen.
is we should be grateful to
I think the points you're making are very misandrist. I mean, that doesn't tell us
But I don't hate
anything.
men, so that's not a very good
I don't hate
insult.
women.
Okay, but your question inherently is rooted in the fact that you think that there is male superiority and that men are in charge.
Descriptively, men are stronger than women, yeah? Descriptively.
Yes.
There you
You're
go,
not
that's
going
it.
to argue that point, right?
On average, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, on average. Well, I mean, it's a strong average, though.
Sure.
Yeah, teenage soccer teams are beating.
Yeah, she has. Johnny, you're right. She conceded to a lot of points. Even to this one, she's keep conceding. That's why she's just breaking down. Yeah, you're right.
Female pro player teams, right?
Sure,
You agree
yes.
that that's the case? Okay, great. So if that's the case, and we can agree, and you agree that the
Well, hold on, Stefano. You're right. I was a professor teaching ultrasounds of the heart, specializing in pediatric congestional heart failure. Damn. Heart disease, I'm sorry. I no longer do that because of feminists like this. No way, really? So what happened? They changed the culture, a lot of toxicity. If you want to go a little bit deeper, just give me like a little, inside baseball. That'll be great.
the governments of the world are patriarchal, then you have to concede that the patriarchy is giving you your rights.
You know what's crazy? I was on Hardbender. You're saying that I was upset. This is the best they could get to debate Andrew. But honestly, it's great because it shows how weak they are. I'm telling you, Hardbender, I don't think it's females are the problem, guys. It's male feminists. Male feminists are the one protecting the ideology. Yeah, because they cannot, females like her cannot protect this ideology with logic, guys. Unless it's in a very controlled environment, like colleges, school, TikTok, mute button. When it meet with reality, they just go down and just break down, guys.
Right now.
I will never concede that. And the reason why is because I think that is rooted in the idea that women should be grateful. Like, you're telling me that I should essentially be grateful to you for the fact that I'm not in a cage right now and that someone's not assaulting me as we speak. Like, that does not mean that I should be grateful to you.
How about just your right to free speech and the fact that it's enforced by men? The patriarchy is the ones giving you that by your own admission.
Listen, so my theory is the way it should be. This is what I think. This is the way that it was before we had colonization and all the imperialism and stuff. There's a blanket statement, right? Or there's a blanket right to life, to autonomy, to all these things, right, that are just given to you by the nature of being human. And there are certain entities and people and oppressive regimes that then come in and they try to take those things away from you.
Yeah,
now,
warring tribe theory.
Well, because they give you those things, or because the government gives you the right to exist now, right, doesn't mean it's a benevolent doesn't mean the patriarchy is benevolent because it is currently giving me these rights and I'm not like sitting and trapped in my house like I am in a different country.
What would make it malevolent?
Damn, bro.
What would make it malevolent?
Yo, Stefano, sorry to hear that, man. That's very common. That's very common, and actually, I do have theories on why females do that. They're looking for ways to put people down, man, and make sure they can just get elevated. The studio is located in Santa Barbara in California.
Places like
I'm
like
talking about here in the United States,
Well,
which is a patriarchy by your own admission, giving you rights. What would make it malevolent?
I think that there are a lot of current things that are malevolent, like in legislation and things like that, that are, like attacks on bodily autonomy and like the overturning like the Dobbs decision or the
But you would consider your First Amendment a benevolent right, your Third Amendment, your Fifth Amendment.
I think these things are all inherent. Like I don't understand. Like just because it's written by the government doesn't mean that it should inherently be.
It can't be benevolent. Listen, that's a contradiction. You can't say it's inherent and the government gives them to us.
No, the government.
That's a contradiction.
The government does, but it does.
Yeah, they go straight for the reputation. And even though that was a lie, the fact that they put that seal in your back, you're done.
Doesn't mean anything. Like we should already have these things. Like just like if I.
How do you have them? How do you have them absent a government?
Being. You should just be able to walk around and be free.
How do you have that without force? How? How is it even possible?
I think you're looking at it through a lens of like imperialism, and I don't think that like force was always necessary. It hasn't always been necessary to conquer other people.
Why do you keep saying I'm looking at it through a lens of? I literally told you my lens of force doctrine, explained it descriptively. It has nothing to do with imperialism. It has to do with this. You're walking around and there's no government. If you're walking around, there's no government. Where do your rights come from then?
Okay, this is just like such a silly question.
Please answer the question.
Okay, so if there's no government and I'm walking...
They need to be right. What's the last one, the sign language? They need to be right. This is her not wanting to say, you know what, you're right. She still want to be right, guys, even though it's obvious that the right come from men. Sadly, that's how it is, because they have the monopoly of force. Even when they passed the 19th Amendment, they had to appeal to men to pass it. Like, even as simple as that, she cannot give that W to Andrew.
So, if there's no government and I'm walking around, my right to be alive, my right to find a partner.
Can someone come around and kill you?
Yes, but in that case, there have historically always been ways of punishing people who take those away. So the people who take them away are like offenders.
Hold on, just let her finish.
A government? Go ahead.
Hold on, Andrew.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The people who take those things away from you, if they don't decide to take it away, it doesn't mean that they're good. Right. So like
whatever that means,
a really horrible example that for a lot of women is true is if I am a woman and I have not had intercourse with anybody and a man is my friend and he decides that he's not going to take my virginity from me. Does that mean he is a good person inherently by not assaulting me? No, it doesn't, because that should be the standard. Right. And so if someone comes in and they take it away and then they tell me that they can or they can't in the future. Right. That's essentially to me what you're saying is just because the government is giving me the right to walk around and have this conversation with you today means that I should be thankful and I should, not be concerned with things and that you guys are actually benevolent. The patriarchy is benevolent because I'm not in a cage, because I'm not being assaulted.
Yeah, that's not
okay. Whatever that.
Anyway, can you answer my question though? If there's no government, where do your rights come from?
I think we've already been over this. I think you've asked me quite a few times.
Listen, what you did was
I've already told you human dignity, so...
Well, human dignity, you can't account for dignity in a secular worldview. What is dignity? It's just whatever you think dignity is. So tell me this, real quick. You have rights. They're inherent.
Okay. Are you talking about legal, moral, or human? Let's omit legal.
Yeah,
right?
Correct,
because I'm talking about a hypothetical
literally
society.
Any.
Okay.
Yeah, she's trying to get that one moment gotcha, and then she's just mixing it up with sign language. Yeah.
Okay,
that's what it is.
Moral and human rights.
Yeah.
And for me, it's rooted in the philosophical 100%. Natural law.
Natural
theory.
law is Catholic. You don't believe in Catholicism. You would have to have God to back up natural law.
Okay, but that is what I developed my beliefs around because I used to believe in God.
No, that's it. If you don't appeal to God for your natural rights, you're making a naturalist fallacy.
Okay, I believe in God.
That's a fallacious argument.
How do you know that I don't believe in God?
Because you told me.
Okay, well, I think this is like a really ridiculous...
Why is it ridiculous? So where do you get your rights from if they're not from God?
Okay, so again, I still subscribe to the human rights theory, which is
the
Universal Declaration of Human Rights. If we're not going to go...
this is some ChatGPT stuff. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's where I was confused, says Flo. Because she's bringing Christianity here, she's bringing the Christianity to just make a point, but at the same time, she doesn't believe in Christianity, which is weird. She sounds wrong anyway. Yeah,
right?
I guess
Which
so.
is that every human being has universal, inalienable rights that are fundamental to each person. And so this is what, the UN subscribes to and stuff like that, regardless of whether there is a government in place or not. So is that sufficient to you?
No, that's an axiom. So all you're just saying is, I think we have inherent rights because I think we have inherent rights.
I think we have inherent rights because we are human beings who deserve to be treated with compassion, love, and respect. And I don't think you think that. So
yeah, but
that's pretty wild.
But the question comes in here. Right. Let's say that a group of people doesn't believe in these inherent human rights, right? They don't believe in them.
I mean, there are definitely groups that have.
Yeah, they just don't believe in these inherent.
But for certain people.
Yeah, they just don't. So what is it that protects those inherent rights for you?
Well, you're right. There is typically like a system in place of
force.
It's not force per se.
All force, right? But name anything that's not force.
But there's a way to isolate those people.
By force. How do you isolate
force?
Yeah. I mean, how do you isolate somebody? Even if you blow them, right? You're still using some kind of force. You have to use force.
Not necessarily. Not
what
every
else could you isolate them with
force.
if they don't want to be isolated?
Well, not every arrest is made through force, right? Like they might.
Yeah. Well, actually, all arrests are made through the implicit threat of force. Either you come with me or else, right?
Sure.
So that would be force, right? You would agree?
Yeah, that's what he's doing, Hardbender. He's just listening. The reason he doesn't go to the jugular very quick because he wants to extract them. That's what it is. He has extract them. He just destroyed their ideology. Per se, yeah.
The implicit.
Yeah, I mean, just this inherent topic to me is very, just like violent and seems like a moot point. Like,
violent, guys.
I mean, I'm kind of, I feel like we talked this through.
No, I haven't talked it through yet.
But you can continue. I mean, I don't really have much else to say on this. But I've already
it's
clarified.
It's a critique of your worldview so that we can understand who you're appealing to for these so-called rights you believe everybody has. In this case, it sounds like you're banking on force from men to protect your rights. How are you not banking on the force of men to protect your rights if you say they're inherent, but all these inherent rights require force?
Well, also men is a generalization. I mean, again, there are a lot of people who are currently working to enforce the system of government that we have. It's not just men, but
they all rely on male force, don't they?
I just told you that wasn't true. I mean,
okay, can you tell me how that's not true? Like, what agency of government doesn't rely on male force?
No. My point is it's not all exclusively men. There are men and women and everyone else as well that work to protect people here. Like in the army, it's not like if you're using force, right? The army isn't just male troops. So like you're saying male.
Yeah, there's women who aren't allowed in combat for the most part, almost ever, unless it's by accident, who are in the military as paymasters and things like this, but they're not the executors of force. There's not female armies being fielded to protect people's rights.
I'm not super interested in this line of questioning because it just seems like inherently misogynistic.
Yo, she's touching everything. She's touching the notebook. She's touching her face. She's just looking around. She's looking for ways to rescue herself. I don't think
you're interested in it. I want to know the worldview.
I think you care because like it's your podcast and like I'm kind of ready to move
you know what? In your next argument, I'll just say, well, I'm just not very interested.
Man.
Okay. Like, then I'll just talk about my points.
What does that do?
Well, you're not really letting me talk or like,
I'm just asking you basic questions. You refuse to answer them. That's it. I just wish you would actually answer the questions and then we could get somewhere, but you just refuse to. I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? And you're like, well, I just explained it when you didn't actually explain anything. And then we get to the root of it. So what you keep doing is appealing to patriarchy for your rights by saying, I would never say I appeal to patriarchy for my rights. You say, hey, I want to appeal to men.
Crazy,
we need
bro.
Men in order to protect us from the patriarchy.
Just imagine having her as a wife, man. You have to deal with this every day. This is a secure divorce, man. You're securing a divorce with this. And she will probably play the system, talk with her lawyer like 2 years before the divorce kind of thing. This right here. Big or small, strong or weak, overestimating yourself is going to be your downfall. Yeah, good point.
Which means you're appealing to men for your rights. It seems like it's a big circle, so I'm just trying to decipher it out. That's it. That's it. Okay, I'm not gonna engage anymore. All right.
I already told you I just don't have anything else to say on this. So I feel like we've had a good conversation. I mean, I've enjoyed hearing.
I see what you're saying, Steph.
I just don't have.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would have enjoyed actually critiquing the view, but since you don't make the view available,
you already have for the last 15 minutes.
You've just been very evasive and you've been very unwilling to actually answer questions, even when you've contradicted yourself. You want to acknowledge it. So.
Okay, well, we can take a little.
Yeah, I'll have a smoke.
There's more prompts, but we'll take some audience questions. There's some super chats that we can get to. So we have, let's see, we have Just Gerald here with the $100 super.